February 17th here in southern Ontario, Canada. So I just suffered through a half an hour or more of Trudeau's press release, his announcement that the Trudeau Commission, the investigation into the enactment of the Emergencies Act, gave Trudeau's hair and his actions a full pass. It was totally justified and necessary. Yeah, okay. This despite the fact that every level of police force in Canada, from the Ottawa City Police, through the Ontario Provincial Police, through the RCMP, through CSIS, no less, and everyone else involved, said it was not necessary, and in fact, they recommended against it. But Trudeau's relative Rouleau, again, gave him a flying color. So now, in his press release, Trudeau said, or his announcement to the press, only the mainstream media was there, of course, but I'll come to that in a moment. Our right, well, he kept saying we have the right to make our voices heard, absolutely. But that the peaceful protest in Ottawa, legal under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, was an illegal occupation. And he stressed about the guns that were found at the Coutts, Alberta border, and the harm to the economy and the threat to Canadians' security. Well, I don't think anyone's surprised that the Rouleau report gave him a pass and liked his hair. But then he motored on about the science and how dangerous it was and is the people who, well, they had the right to a choice, weren't following the science, and that the mis and disinformation cost Canadians' lives. The mis and disinformation that was spread on social media, and how this can't be tolerated any further. This at a time when peer-reviewed studies from around the world are coming in quite clearly stating that that's bad. I'll just leave it at that. Censorship. So, I did notice that as only the mainstream media was there, they're in his pocket, of course, on the government payroll, nobody asked him what he thought of the fact that as our nation protests widely across the country this weekend, they're not protesting mandates anymore. That has ceased. Over the last year, what people are protesting is what was referred to last year as government overreach. What the Canadian people are protesting now is, well, indeed, government overreach, but they're protesting the fact that we no longer have a parliamentary democracy. The signing of the Supply and Confidence Agreement has given the Trudeau government truly what can be called a regime, or a dictatorship if you prefer. Nobody asked him that question. So, what will the Trudeau government's response be now that he's claiming he's vindicated and met the very high threshold? Again, despite the fact all law enforcement levels of law enforcement not only didn't ask for it, but didn't approve of it and suggested he not do it. So, how will he respond now to the protests across the country that they're not protesting his version of science? Things are going to get hot this year in Canada, people, and it needs to badly. Anyways, if you can suffer through watching his announcement, I don't know. I'd suggest you skip it, actually. It's a hard thing to watch.